Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that from where you are. Anyway, it was the sound of Levi drinking out of his bowl, which is one of the loudest sounds in the world. Anyway, hello. Happy to see you all. And, all right, let's get right into it. It's been a busy week, and I want to just fill you in on the book thing first. So last weekend, as promised, I read This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger, and it was outstanding. I loved it. I highly recommend it. I don't want to give anything away, but I'll just say that it was good. I'll give that away. Next up this weekend, I will be reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who I like. She's always fun. And just in case you're wondering, can you see him? There's Levi. There he is. Say hi. He doesn't say hi because he doesn't talk because he's a dog. Anyway, I wanted to tell you a story today that is, this is a little off. It's an old Rosenberg family gem. And today first of all, we're looking into the corner of my living room because it's the only sort of straightened up corner in the whole house. Also, I don't want to lead you astray in thinking that I'm dressed nicely today. I'm just covering up pajamas and slippers. So anyway, now that we're being real with each other, I'm going to tell you this story. So when Bob was a little more than a year and a half old, what moms like to call 20 months, he was like a year and a half old. And we lived in not West LA, but Beverlywood adjacent. And it was extremely adjacent, meaning not in Beverlywood at all, on the other side, the wrong side of Robertson Boulevard. So it was not a great neighborhood, but we had a little house that we were renting. And anyway, the laundry area for the house was outside, and it was down the back stairs. And to get to the back stairs, there was a sliding glass door to get outside. Anyway, so one day I was, it was in the morning, I was still wearing pajamas, not that it had to be morning for me to be in pajamas as a youngish mom, an older mom who was in the young stages of parenting. Anyway, you know what I mean. I was taking clothes out. I was going out to the washer and dryer to move the stuff from the washer into the dryer and then come back up. So I closed the sliding glass door behind me because I didn't want Bob following me outside and like tumbling down the stairs or something like that. So I just closed it behind me. And as I was coming back up, he was standing at the window and he was doing this at the window and saying, "Mama, Mama, Mama," and like laughing and, hold on, and going a little nuts. And he hit the lock on the sliding glass door. Now, it should have been like someone had put in the sliding glass door upside down and backwards. So it should not have been so easy for him to lock me out. I should have been able to actually lift the door, you know, if I was on the inside, I could lift the door out. Anyway, just know I was locked out. And this house was super weird, and it had like 12 windows, and 9 of them were these heavy stained glass, super unattractive Why am I whispering like the house can hear me? Anyway, super unattractive windows, and there's, you know, you can't penetrate that. And then the other 3 windows that we had were like 9 feet off the ground, and they were all locked anyway. And so I was going around looking to see if there was something I was missing about a way to get in. And what I found was the bedroom door, or the bedroom window, was unlocked, and it was open about this much. But it was, like I said, like 9 feet off the ground. So I like hiked up this tree in my like silky pajamas, and I'm like hanging off the tree, and I'm opening the window and punching the screen out so that I could try somehow to like Tarzan my way into the window and, you know, elegantly drop in, and then I would not be locked out anymore. But so what instead happened was that I Tarzaned my way over to the window and then was just like hanging. And so that was cool, and I couldn't get any traction. I finally pulled my way partially up like this, and I could see Bob like coming up to see me, and he was like, "Hey, Mama," and I was like, "Go get my diaper bag," because that's where the keys were. "Go get my diaper bag, go get my diaper bag." What you need to know now is that in the way that they had made this place a fortress, the only way that you could get out of the backyard was one side had a door, but it was deadbolted from the outside with a key. So I was locked not only out of the house, but I was locked inside the backyard. Really high fences all the way around. There was a weird apartment building behind me, so I knew none of those people were going to help me, because that was like it was a nightmare of a place to live next to. The neighbors on either side who I knew were both at work. Anyway, Levi making an announcement. Okay, so anyway, so I'm looking over the window, and I see Bob coming at me, and he gets up on the bed, and now he's trying to get up onto this rickety table that was next to the bed to try and get up and see me, and haha, isn't this funny? And I was afraid he was going to get up there, obviously, and fall down, so I had to drop down to the ground and no longer try that line of entrance. And I've been trying to get him to like, go bring me my keys, go bring me my phone, go bring me my diaper bag that had all those things in it. And he was just like, ha ha. So next I went around to the gate that I was locked out of. And I was hoping someone would walk by so I could yell to them and tell them what was happening and they could help me. Instead, no one walked by, and people would drive by. And as they would drive by, I would yell fire at the top of my lungs, because I had read that people will respond more to fire than they will to help. Because if it's help, they don't want to get involved. Fire, they're worried about their own stuff, so they will actually maybe call the authorities. Now, the police made their rounds in that neighborhood quite a bit because, like I said, not the best neighborhood, a lot of stuff going on there. So people were driving by, even with the windows down, like it would be really loud music, so they're not even hearing me yell fire. And of course, I had to pee, because in these kind of situations, you always do. Or I always do. I couldn't just go in the backyard because of the creepy, I should have just, but anyway, the creepy apartment building behind me. I was like, that's what I need. I need people looking at anyway. So you can see my dilemma. So what happened next was I'm still standing there, yelling fire at no one. And finally, a police car comes driving by really closely. Now, I don't know if it's because someone called them because they heard me yelling. Of course, they wouldn't come over themselves because that would be too helpful. But maybe they called someone, or maybe they were just combing the neighborhood as they often did. But they come rolling down with the windows closed, and I'm yelling, fire, 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 fire. And they just keep going. And then I gave up, and then they come backing back up the hill, and I can hear them coming back up the hill, and then they stop and they see me. So they get out of the car and they're like, is there a fire? And I'm like, nope. But I am locked out of my house. I am locked in my backyard, and my infant toddler son is inside by himself with the dog who is babysitting him basically right now. But I'm locked out and locked in. And so they were like, you should try and get in a window. So I explain how I can't get in a window. And so now, in the meantime, one of the guys goes and he calls another police car, I guess. He gets on the thing, the radio. And the other guy disappears. I don't know where he went. And he looked like he was probably 20 years younger than me at that point. So he was like 21. Anyway, so this kid in the police uniform jumps into the next door neighbor's backyard and then jumps from their backyard down into my backyard. And so he starts walking around and he's like trying to get the sliding glass door open and he can't, and he's looking at the windows, and he was like, doing basically everything I did. And then he realized that he too was now locked in the backyard with me. So now we're back over at the fence talking to the guy who was on the radio, and at this point, another couple of squad cars have pulled up with Starbucks, not for me, but for the guy, the other policeman who had radioed. He wasn't really radioing for backup or help. He was radioing for Starbucks. I swear to God. I know that's like, there were no donuts involved, so it's not just me perpetuating a long-standing stereotype about policemen, but he radioed for Starbucks. Anyway, finally, the guy let me use his phone once he realized that his partner is also locked in. And so I call my husband, who I knew was not going to answer because he wasn't going to recognize the phone number that I was calling from, and he was at work. So, of course, I left him a message, and I'm sure it sounded hysterical because I was off and on, like, laughing and crying during this whole thing. So then I called my friend Jennifer, who was home, and of course she picked up the phone because that's what she does. She's good about that. And then she thought she had keys to my house somewhere, so she was going to look around for them while she called Jeff because he would probably pick up a phone call from her. But she was still like 20 or 25 minutes away, and that's not including like looking for keys time. So still locked out. Bob's still inside, me and Officer Wilson hanging out together. And he too tried to get up that side tree window thing and could not. And of course my son came in and started yelling, "Policeman!" And then he dropped down because he didn't want Bob trying to climb up, which he was trying to do. So anyway, so now we're all just waiting. So we take one more chance. Somehow, Officer Wilson thinks he's going to be able to get into my sliding glass doors, even though it's put in wrong. And so what happens is, he gets up there, Bob comes running up, our dog Daisy comes running up, and she's like barking and barking and barking, and the dog's barking. Bob is yelling, "Policeman, policeman, mommy, mommy." And then Daisy, with her running up and down, jumping up and down, up and down, up and down, unlocks the door. And now we are in. Daisy unlocked the door and let us in. So of course the policeman comes into the house, looks around to see like if I have a meth lab or if I'm like something else is going on with me, like why were you locked out, because it couldn't just be simply laundry, and I'd already explained the neighborhood as I was in, so who knows what was really going on with me. So he came in. I guess I passed the weirdo test by looking around my house somehow. And so then we went out the front door. I filled out some forms. They left. I peed. All was well. But so the story is basically that Daisy saved the day, as she often did. God rest her little Daisy soul. Anyway, so you can see why that has become legendary in the Rosenberg storybook. So that's my dog story for today. And I can't believe that that was like more than 11 years ago. That's really weird. Okay, so it doesn't seem like that long ago, and yet a million years ago. You know how that is. So I will be back this week to let you know how this book is. And also, as an aside, I wanted to tell you, I'm not sponsored by Book of the Month Club, but that book that I read the week before that I really did not like at all, the one that was like, as Mark Twain said, it used $25 words when a $5 word would have done. It was just irritating and pretentious. But how did I feel about it? Didn't love it. Wasn't for me. So on my Book of the Month Club thing, you give it a number of stars or something like that, or a happy face or a medium face or a smiley face. And so I had given it a frowny face and said that it was definitely not my favorite and I didn't recommend it. So I got an email from Book of the Month Club saying that they were going to give me points for another free book because I didn't like the one that I'd gotten from them. So that made me kind of a happy customer. So I will say that for them. So that pleased me. Anyway, so I hope you're going to have a great rest of your weekend, beginning of your week. Well, I want you to have a good rest of your week too, but hopefully I'll talk to you before that happens. And anyway, bye.